Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Misfits Racing League action. We are here, of course, for the Tier 2 division action around Russia, the 17th round, the Sochi Autodrome. We've already had two fantastic races around here for the Tier 3, and of course, the Americas divisions. Joining me this evening for all the coverage, as usual, Unicorn, how you doing?
Hello, Striffle. I'm doing well, thank you. I'm looking forward to this. Obviously, my first race to watch for the week in the commentary booth. And Russia, it's an interesting track. It's one where, we had Singapore last week where strategy is so crucial. Here in Russia, it can play a part, but it's not quite as critical as it was in Singapore. So we'll see how everything pans out. I think raw pace here is very indicative to how things will end up, and it could breed some interesting racing. Not a lot of overtaking opportunities, but where they are quite dramatic, and I think we're in for an exciting race.
Yeah, I think you're hitting the nail on the head there. It's going to be a very exciting thriller here around Sochi, and of course next week we'll be heading over to Suzuka, another iconic Formula One racing circuit, and of course following that the United States, Mexico, Brazil, and then the finale for the 22nd round here in Season 4 in Abu Dhabi. Massive shout out to our great partners, Next Level Racing. You can check them out via the link in the chat, and of course the panels down below for some amazing sim racing rigs and products there. They have wheel stands, motion sims, light rigs. They have everything you need to take your racing to the next level. And of course, as we say that, we jump into the standings here for Tier 2. Azir, well, he's got Scars and Crampy right behind him in that top three. Jake and Swifty 4 and 5 for Red Bull. And it is a very intense championship that we have seen thus far in this division. Of course, Neon, having been promoted to Tier 1 earlier in the season, has really opened those floodgates for a potential championship for a few of these racers now. Alfa Romeo, Williams, McLaren, your top three in the constructors as we jump into round 17. And I'm thrilled to see how Scars goes here after he took his win in Singapore last week. So we'll have to see if he's able to follow that, well, that pace up here in Russia, Unicorn. And with that being said, we're just about ready to go racing here around Sochi. And I can't wait to get in with that roll of the dice for the weather as well.
Yeah, just making sure we've got everyone in the lobby that's supposed to be here. I think we do. We've got what looks like a full grid. So, with that being said, we've just got to make sure that we've got the right people. I think we've got one person in here who shouldn't be, and we'll get that sorted in just a quick moment. But until we do,
one thing we can talk about, of course, is make sure you share the stream, get your friends and fam in here, because we are going to be having a great race. And this is a great introduction to league racing if you've ever been interested in driving. Of course, you can always apply, and you can join the Misfits community, !Discord in the chat. We'll give you a portal link, as I'll say, right into the Discord there. And, well, thank you very much, Vanix, and welcome in everyone. The Alex Butt in the chat waving his MRL flag there, and we have Freeware in the chat as well moderating things. So greatly appreciate everybody hanging out with us this evening, or this afternoon, or, well, this morning, wherever you may be. The afternoon here for me, 3 p.m. 8 p.m. for all of our friends in the UK, though, right, Unicorn?
yeah, absolutely. And we do have everyone in. We're a couple of seconds early, but we'll get everything underway. We're done nice and on time, and we love to see that. So big thank you to the drivers for getting in quickly, but we'll send out that message to get everyone readied up and Russian GP action on for everyone.
Well, we saw a safety car in Americas last night. Tier 3 was a very interesting. Didn't see a safety car in that.
Yeah, a couple of BSCs if memory serves well, but yeah, definitely a possibility for a safety car around here. It is obviously, it's not a street circuit like Singapore, but there are some sections where there's not a lot of runoff. There are some close walls, particularly in that sort of second sector. And that third sector as well. There's runoffs at the corners, but again, a lot of opportunity to hit a wall, particularly if you're side by side with another driver, tight battling, that kind of thing. So it's worth looking out for the drivers. They have to be on their toes through a lot of parts of this track. A couple of long straights as well that open up overtaking, but we are in, and it's a very clear looking qualifying session. We'll have to get a weather report obviously for the race, but as for qualifying, sun is shining here in Russia, Striff.
Yeah, it'll be a very good sign of, well, a sigh of relief for a lot of these drivers to not see rain on the circuit right now. We'll see what we get for the race. As well, typical of me, I've again forgot to take up the habit of getting my own weather telemetry set up, so I don't need to wait. But Neon, thank you very much to him in the chat, coming through and giving us the dry forecast. So it's going to be an absolute blitz of speed here, no rain to contest. And Mark, Max O'Connor, Tuptus, Azir Larsen. We have Scars, Eruption, Jake. We have Lil Shen, Ben, Crampy, Rackety, Adezi, XTXP, Alp, Pavel, Henners, Jean, Swifty, and Husam on this grid today.
Yeah, a lot of full-time drivers there. A couple of reserves in the form of Adezi and Ben there. So obviously, again, we always like to thank the reserves because they do fill up these grids, make them a little bit more exciting when full-time drivers have other commitments, as there is a huge train of cars leaving the pit lane, Striff. There is so many people getting out on track one after the other, but I think it is Crampy leading the charge in the Alfa Romeo. He's been having a pretty impressive season.
He has, and I was just about to say he's running third in this championship presently, right on the rear of his teammate Scars. Of course, Scars with that win last week. We'll be looking at him quite closely, and I didn't even go to the Alfa Romeos for expectations this week, and they didn't really come through to tell me anything. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say they've been practicing hard, head down, and well, I'm gonna put them on for a 1-2 here today. No pressure, Unicorn. That's my prediction for the Alfa Romeos today here in qualifying, or at the very least in the race.
I think they've set themselves up now, but it's not too bad that we give them those high expectations. They've had such a great run of form. They're running 2-3 right now in the standings. Obviously first in the constructors, and without Neon here anymore, it's really opening up, particularly, Scars. What a run of form he's on right now. Crampy, not been quite so fortunate with the finishes, but he's still been picking up a huge haul of points week after week, and he will be the first to set a lap here in Sochi. Coming through the first turn, a very fast right-hander. The real run is down into turn 2, and this is where a lot of drama can cause at the start of a race. Through turn 2, now into this huge left-hander that is turn 3, keeping it as tight to the left as possible. Just really bringing the car in to open up for turn 4, making sure to not use too much of the exit curbing there. Now down into turn 5, one of many 90-degree corners here in Russia. Again, not using all of the exit curbing. Turn 6, pretty invisible, but turn 7, definitely there. Bit of a sausage curve on the inside. Navigates it well. Now into 8, through into 9. Again, using all of the curbs to their maximum, but not stretching too far out. 10, exit out of hit. Pretty important as it gives you the run down the back straight, which is actually a couple of corners strung together. It's turn 11, this huge right-hander. That's again pretty invisible. Turn 12, also flat out into, very much not flat out. Turn 13, tight right-hander, hard on the brakes to get through. Into 14 now, into turns 15 and 16. Probably the most difficult corner on this track. Turn 15 through into 16. Nicely done from Crampy. And this is a very good banker lap. It's shaping out to be 17, the penultimate corner. Nothing doing badly through there, through 18 and to the line. It's a 129.5 strip, and that is a strong banker.
Very strong
from the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, that's a very nice time there. You can see Swifty on his banker at 30.1, and that's a little bit off of where Crampy landed himself. Tuptus, he went 4th as Adezi. In the Williams went 2nd, and he's quite tight to the rear of Crampy. Precisely a 10th off the Alfa Romeo. Scars, he goes sub 130 here as well, a 129.731. Memory serves correctly, the only driver yesterday in the Tier 3 division to go sub 129 was Dirt Chocolate.
I think you're right there, Striff, and what an evening it was for him, and well, he'll be absolutely delighted with how the qualifying went. The race went, you could say it went his way. Obviously, not picking up the win, translating that pole position, but still P2 for him, and it's
Yeah, it was a great
again a
drive.
continuation of a great run of form he's had.
Yeah, Yasko yesterday had some solid pace. He took that win, but it was a great battle between him and Dirk, and Azir goes 6th quickest to 29.990.
Okay, now I think most people have completed their first laps, only a few of them not setting times, valid ones at least. And there's a fair few of the 129s already there, Striff, and if that is an inclination of where we're starting, imagine where we're going to finish here in Tier 2. It is a fast grid, and I think they're showing that right now with the top 6, all sub 129, with Husam there just missing out by 0.07 of a second.
Yeah, the entire grid right now is very tight, just on the bankers. And as we move through the qualifying session, 18 minutes, of course, they will have the opportunity to get 1 or 2 more laps in, depending on what they choose to do. Dry running in this race, I mean, I wonder if we're going to see any hard compound tires in this race. I mean, if we look at Tier 3 yesterday, we saw Gadwin. He started that race on the hard compound tires. He ran very long, and he ended up being a bit of a monkey wrench between Dirk Chocolate and Yasko in their battle. So I wonder if we're going to see any, outliers like that.
Yeah, we were talking about it a little bit before the stream, that the hards around here, a lot of people, just disregard them. They are obviously the slowest tire, and the mediums can pretty much do the full race, if not the full race, from lap 1 if there was an early safety car, early damage, that kind of thing. Rutanius yesterday proved that one very well, but that doesn't mean there's no use for the hards. It's unlikely that we see anyone use them, but someone outside the top 10 maybe just goes for that gamble, hards to an early safety car onto some mediums. It could be a nice strategy if you want to cover all the bases, but mostly I think it'll be top 10 softs with maybe 1 or 2 people on a very fast medium lap, but I don't think we're going to see that with the banker lap times we've seen. So I think the top 10 will be pretty much all of the softs, and then the last 10 will be a split between the softs and the mediums, with the mediums here being so strong on the tire wear.
I'm just jumping on board with the Ferrari reserve this evening, Ben. We've seen him come and go in reserve capacity on the grid a few times. Henner's there getting the heck out of Dodge.
Yeah, took the little post there that stands on the apex of turn 4 with him to get out of the way of the Ferrari's flying lap. Ben, nicely done through turn 7, really utilizing all of that curb without bouncing off of that sausage curb. There's a few of them here. The orange, you see the red and white curbing that we always have, but then there's that orange bump on the inside of a lot of these corners. Scars here, giving the reserve quite the toe down the back straight. And we'll see if that impacts Ben's time here, but he won't be annoyed with Scars for that one. That would have been very helpful for the Ferrari. We'll see where that lands him in the thick of things. He hasn't set a time yet. One of 4 drivers who's yet to set a time. A little bit of a wobble there out of turn 15, though. You can see him really wrestling that wheel side to side. But still under control, low fuel. So this is, a good attempt at a run out of the final corner. And it is just a 130 flat, just ahead of Husam by 0.02 of a second. You got to say, great lap from him.
Yeah, Scar is now behind him, beginning a flyer, and we're going to see a little bit of a toe here as Ben now, well, maybe not much of a toe there.
Well, any toe is, going to help a little bit, and as long as the car in front gets out of the way in time, and just have to wait and see what sort of improvement Scars is seeing, if any, out of sector 1. And there it is, 1/10, so maybe it did help. As we're not seeing, I don't think, any teamwork from any of the teams right now. And it could be very, very powerful if you did, get two cars working together to try and join up some excellent laps. As we just seen Ben and Scars there, whether that was deliberate or not, I can't imagine it was. But Scars, a little bit shaky out of turn 10. Nothing too bad, but it would have unsettled the driver a little bit as he comes down through turn 12 into 13 now. And he's found another half a tenth there. Not too much of a huge improvement for the Alfa Romeo driver, but he's still on for a great lap here as topped us. Last week's pole sitter, 129.531, 4 thousandths faster than Crampy's first time. Crampy as well on a flyer. Scars now through the penultimate corner into the final one. Can he dethrone the Racing Point? Yes, he can. A 129.466. He found a lot of time to that final sector, and Crampy's dropped his lap. He's invalidated, so he's not going to drop off his teammate from the lead of things right now. But what a lap from Scars, topped us as well, but a little bit overshadowed by the Alfa Romeo there. DZ, what can he do? He jumps Jake for P4.
Jake on a run right now as well. Crampy with the invalidation. I saw Swifty go 7th quickest before Pavel came through into 6th, knocking him back 1 slot.
Well, some great laps so far from a lot of drivers on this field. Eruption, he's on a nearly identical lap. He is up by 9 thousandths of a second coming out of Sector 2. So we'll see what he can do through Sector 3. We saw Scars find a fair bit of time through here. And given the technical nature, he looks like he's coming straight into the pits, though. Who was that? Oh, Jake, a massive slide for him. It was Azir. Azir's gone pole, a 129.446. 200ths faster than Scars time. Striff, this qualifying is very, very close up at the top right now.
Yeah, it is extraordinarily close. We have less than a tenth separating the top 4 right now. And that really makes me nervous for this race.
Azir, championship leader, on pole position. It's, we've mentioned it the last couple of weeks. He's had a bit of a shaky portion. He's had 2 good races, but before that, Hungary and Belgium really did not go his way. So interesting to note. We have never seen Azir on pole in this division. His best qualifying, Canada, 2nd, and that was in the wet. So he was on the intermediate compound tyre there. So does he break that spell? He's won here 4 times, but he's never sat pole position. We'll see whether today can be his day.
Trying to find active flyers right now, and it is the calm before the storm. Nobody really running. 5 minutes remaining in session. A couple drivers on outlaps, a couple drivers on inlaps. Lil Shen Larsen on the outlap presently.
Yeah, really just waiting for that final 5 minutes when everything gets a little bit better in terms of the track conditions. A little bit faster, I think. Lil Shen coming through the penultimate corner. He'll be the first one to start this and kick things off in that what is usually a crazy final 5 minutes for a shift, with people taking provisional poles left, right, and center. But here goes the Racing Point as he starts his fly. Hugh Sam there coming out of the pit lane won't cause a problem for him at all.
Just looking at the gap right now in this grid, it's just so tight, and it's such a pressure cooking grid, having to drive, and you really can't make any mistakes. And Lil Shen now coming into turn 4.
He got the top 10 all under that 130 mark, and I imagine we're going to see the likes of Hugh Sam, Mark, maybe the McLarens as well, get under that 130 barrier. And when we do, we're really going to create huge waves on this grid. And what we're looking at now on the timing tower, I don't think is anything close to what we're going to see in terms of final finishing order, unless people push a bit too hard, find themselves straying wide, invalidating their laps. For Lil Shen, not the case so far. He's going to come out of Sector 2, and we'll see what he can do. He's on a 130.3 right now. 9/10 off a provisional pole. He's up 1/10 as they come in to the final sector. And everything just slows down in this final sector strip. It's not great for overtaking. You can go side by side through here if you're brave enough, but it's such a tricky portion of track, and it's just completely different to the rest of it. It's a very varied track, I'd say Russia is. It's completely different, and that turn 3 really helping there. Very unique corner. Lil Shen improves, so 130.1 for him. Not bad at all from the racing point.
Larsen's on the run as well. I believe Husam just started a run. Ooh, Larsen. Not going to be happy about that. He has not set a time in this session. Larsen, the AlphaTauri, setting that track map red here in what could have been his last run, but we might have a little bit of desync here. So if we do have desync, the odds are good that he'll have an opportunity to get another run in here. Neon,
Yeah, I think that's
Neon's
why we're
just
staying a little bit away.
Neon just confirmed that, yeah. So we do have a bit of desync.
Yeah, a weird one that's been plaguing this game. I think I'm right in saying since the beginning, Swift.
Yeah, start to finish, it's not going anywhere. It is something that we have learned to deal with. You know what I mean? We've adapted, per se.
Yeah, it's not game breaking. It's, you know, a few minutes on the clock. Eruption finds a couple of attempts to put himself into the 7th place from 8th, but yeah, it's a weird one. But fingers crossed, in a few months' time, new game, less bugs. I think, or no bugs would be lovely. We'll see what they can produce over at Codemasters. But yeah. 1 minute 31 left on our clocks.
I'm excited for it. Husam, 8th position for the Haas driver. John on an outlap once again.
Yeah, Crampy's gearing up for his next lap as well. All of the front runners right now, the top 6, they're on outlaps. Crampy will be first to charge. I think a few cars by here. Ben on a flyer. Mark wasn't, but I think Crampy's just making sure he doesn't impede anyone. Maybe as well looking for a little bit of a tow.
Alps just had a big issue, I think, coming through turn 16. And I don't know if he's going to find improvement as a result of that issue. I think he had an issue getting on the power. Yeah, he is going to lose that lap.
Crampy's invalidated. Straight through into turn 2.
That's horrible
it's
news.
Over for him.
His teammate Scar's on a run.
Yeah, Scars, Azir, all on flyers. I think Tuptus as well. It's flying. His tires are 1 lap old, but he is flying. At Easy as well. He's flying, as will Jake be in a few moments. So
yeah, I believe Tuptus invalidated his original run. I had checked in with him, and he did have a red track map.
Well, he's got plenty of fuel left. He's not got the warning light, and he's flying down the back straight.
Scars. Scars dipped his toe in, and there goes his opportunity. Now we'll take a look at Tuptus. He's coming through sector 3. What a tight grid we're seeing here. Ooh, a slide for Tuptus. He gets it back under control, but that's it for him. He's not going to be able to run anything out with this.
I think he was down on his time coming out of sector 2 anyway. Azir, well, he didn't find time through sector 1. He has found time in sector 2. And this could open up great things for the Williams. Obviously, Azir already on pole, but Adizi reserving right now in that other seat. What can he produce here?
Well,
as well.
Gonna come through turn 17 here now. And it's gonna be the Williams to the line. The Spanish driver, he improves by a 10th. That's a 29.342. His teammate goes, oh, wow, what a run. It's a 29.394. And that is a Williams 1-2. Unless Jake, well, Jake has invalidated.
Invalidated, yeah.
So he won't be able to do anything about it.
A Williams, a 1-2, and I think that's just about everyone done. Larsen's invalidated. Henner's, he's invalidated too. So I think, Striff, that right there is our final qualifying order. And my goodness, that is
Daniel Monaf with the
Quite
clarification. Yes, it is a Williams P1 and it is a Pirate in P2. Unicorn, as we call them, the reserve drivers.
Yeah, aliens right now sitting out today, but I think I'll be pretty happy with the way that Williams is positioned, and despite the fact that there's a Pirates and we're aware of that, but it's still a Williams 1-2. Adizi, we'll see how he plays it, but he could do some great things for Azir being positioned behind that car. And a lot of the time, as the Pirates, they are there, to score points for themselves and just sort of see what they could do. But at the same time, you see them sort of work with their teammates a lot of the time. They may not be permanent, but for the evening, they just like to be involved with that team dynamic. And right now, Adizi is positioned very well to sort of aid Azir from behind there.
Yeah, this grid is just looking so packed. All the way down to 18th position where Henners is currently stationed. It is less than a second the gap. We saw Rackety. He came within a 30.7 here. Larsen, he failed to get a time set on this board, and I think he would have been able to land himself within range as well. But of course it is from Spain. Azir in the Williams, a 29.342. What a lap. A 29.342. Solid run in Adesi. So close in that other Williams with Scars rounding out your top three. The South African who won in Singapore last week. We are going to go down through the rest of this grid with you on the formation lap, but not before we give a fantastic shout out to our great partners, Next Level Racing. You can check them out via the link in the chat and of course down via the panels below on their website for some amazing sim racing rigs, motion sims, wheel stands. They've got light rigs that you can fold and compact away. They really do have a ton of quality gear that you can take your racing to the next level with. Now, on top of that, we are going to be giving away a Next Level Racing rig. And if you're interested in participating in the racing event or in the giveaway, you can find all of the details over on the event page, !event in the chat. Now, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to be getting another prediction going here in just a few moments. We've got 10 seconds clocking down now before we get to go racing around here in Sochi, Unicorn.
And it's just a moment until we see what sort of tires we've got outside of the top 10. And there is the predicted pit stop strategy. A straight one stop from the softs. And having a quick look, it is no hards. There is no one risking that strategy. It is the top 10 on softs. And then 6 people have opted for the millions, including Swifty and Ben over in 11th and 12th. So we'll see where they come. But the grid is as follows. Azir lines up P1 championship leader, his first ever pole position, despite the massive amount of points he's got in this championship. His first ever pole. Behind him, his teammate for the evening, Adizi, filling in for Aliens there in the other Williams. Scars in P3. He sits P2 in the standings. We'll see whether he can score some solid points here this evening. Toptus in P4. Crampy in P5 in the other Alfa Romeo. And we have Pavel, Jake, Eruption, Husam and Mark round out our top 10. Swifty in 11th and Ben in 12th, like I said, on the medium compound tires. Jean starts on the soft in 13th, so he'll be looking to dispatch those two in the early stages of the race. Lil Shen in 14th, he starts on the mediums. XTXP in 15th, he starts on the softs. Alp and then Max O'Connor there in 16th and 17th, both on the mediums. Henners, Rackety there on the softs. And then Larsen rounds out this grid on the medium compound tires. So bit of variation outside that top 10, and that strategy did prove very powerful yesterday, but it all depends, Triff, on where safety cars, VSCs, that kind of thing land here around Sochi.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And those softs, I mean, they have a lot of pace on the opening laps of this race versus those mediums. I can say it from experience in my race around here yesterday in the Americas division. But the mediums, they can come in versus those softs fairly quick. Now, it's going to be a very interesting situation to see how quickly any of the soft runners can get ahead of these medium runners. How hard these guys fight. Azir on pole position in the Williams. Of course, his teammate for the usual racing is Aliens. He's not present with us this evening. And he has Adesi filling in that seat for the reserve. Scars. Well, he had a fantastic run last week in Singapore, and he'll be looking to maybe make it 2 in a row if he can get himself into that top slot. Tuptus in 4th, Crampy in 5th. Pavel, Jake, Eruption, Husam, Mark. Oh, it's a serious top 10 here, and it's going to be a very serious run down to turn 2. Things can get very tricky when you have a long run into the first turn like this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, 3, 4, 5 red lights here in Sochi. The engines are revving here. We're on board with Tuptus. We're gonna wait for him to drop things, and we're away racing here in Russia. Adesi. Well, here's Scars. Tuptus on the inside. He's got his teammate of Crampy there as well, and the slipstream so powerful coming down into turn 2. Who's gonna have the best run? Ferrari there. Ooh, that's Jake. He's gone into the rear of the Alfa Romeo, and there's an issue between Jake and Scars. Who's that? That's Henry. Henry has gone into the rear of Jake through turn 2, and I'm sorry to say, but we do have a safety car deployed on the opening lap of the Tier 2 17th round of Season 4.
Yeah, that was quite the dramatic start to the event. Scars, well, he will be kicking. He had an awful start off the line. He was poised for great things down into the second turn, but he was just caught sleeping when the lights went out. You saw, you know, Tuptus and Crampy both got him before turn 1, and realistically the run here is down into turn 2. Then he got tapped in the rear. I'm not quite sure what happened. Jake, I think, coming there. I'm not sure if Jake was hit from behind because I was looking at Scars. Scars, though, tapped from the rear by Jake, sent both cars sliding. Then Jake's car spun back onto the track, and that's when you saw Hennes collide with him. So a lot of debris to be cleared out. And that's why we got the safety car out. 3 cars. I can't remember who the other person was. Someone else came off at that first portion. It might have been Eruption. He's down 3 places, so it will make the most sense. But someone else ran very wide through that second corner. But a bad start to this race for Scars and, of course, Jake. And Hennes, like you said, he hit the rear of Jake as well. So a lot of damage on that McLaren's front end too. So pit stops for these guys. Probably mediums, I should think, to the end if they're going to try that, you know, long stint.
Azir's coming in straight away.
So it's Tuptus, and Tuptus has picked up a 5-second for doing so. Sped in the pit lane.
Well, we're going to see a whole variety of pit stops come through this grid now. Half the grid has come in. Save 2. No? All right. Fortunately, no retirements at this phase of the race.
Azir went for hards. Azir did not go for the mediums.
Is he going to run this all the way?
Well, I think everyone's going to try and run that all the way, apart from the 2 guys on softs. But I don't know if the hards is the right call, Striff. We saw Rutanius yesterday, 25 laps on the mediums. Azir's going to struggle for pace. He's got Tuptus behind him. Tuptus may have that 5 seconds, but he's got pace. Gars isn't going to be too far behind either. And for someone who's defending top spot in the championship away from this man right here, the South African now, 15th place, Azir, 12th on the hards. He's going to struggle on the safety car restart, Striff. I do not think the hards was the right call. I don't think coming in was a bad idea. I think coming in for the hards was a bad idea. So we'll have to see how that one plays out for him. But that's an interesting call from the Williams garage.
I'm gonna keep reserved on my opinion on the switch to hards, because the last time you and I made a bold prediction on him having the wrong call, he burned the pair of us. So I'm gonna wait a few laps to see where he lands, because last time we thought him staying out was a major mistake and he ended up collecting a podium. But Scars, he's gonna have those mediums, and it's gonna be good in his fight against Azir here. Take a look at the position changes overall after the stops have come through now. If you look at drivers 1 through 11, not one of those drivers has come into the pits yet. So we have 7 positions gained for Ben and John, as well as Alp. 9 positions gained for Larsen. Huge, huge for Larsen. He started this race at the back. Like a couple other drivers are going to be coming in here.
Yeah, I'm looking now, and Ben P5. What a great start to the race it's been for him. Swifty as well. Well, I believe was ahead of Ben at the start of this. So for Ben, that is a huge positional gain on the mediums as well. So he could be in for a great run in this race. Obviously reserving for Darren Alfie in that Ferrari. And We'll see what he can do with those mediums. Swifty as well. Swifty, P5 right now in the standings. He's had 1 podium so far this season with that strategy. Maybe we'll see him make it 2, but all those people who pitted for the mediums, very dangerous for those who haven't pitted yet, particularly the soft runners, because well, the softs will have to pit a lot sooner, whereas the other medium runners, they'll be on similar pace. But come the second half of this race, with half of the grid maybe not pitting against it, this could be a very, very interesting race, because pace isn't going to be too different, because everyone's on fairly fresh mediums, with the exception of, what, 7 drivers?
Well, it's when these soft runners come in and get off of these tires that there's going to be a real interesting strategy at play in this grid, because where do the soft runners pull themselves on this restart? And then where do they land amongst these medium runners? We've seen how tire wear can affect races. We've seen how drivers can misjudge braking of the car ahead or the car behind given the tire differential. There's a lot that can play out, especially around a circuit like Sochi when DRS is at play.
Oh, safety car's coming in. I want to know what it's going to be like when Ben and Swifty come in for softs at the end of this thing, because they could start tearing through a lot of people on old mediums. So it's going to be interesting, but we've got a lot of time to go until then. On a safety car restart drift with a DZ. It's a different Williams leading the charge this time, but well, he's got a job to do, and Crampy's poised right behind him to take that position away.
The safety car restart here in Russia can be tricky, given how tight it is through these final few turns. Adesi, I think he might be gone. He is. He's utilizing that little straight between 17 and 18, and he's hammered down. Has he caught Crampy enough here? Well, he's caught him almost 7/10. Crampy with Pavel. The Ferrari sitting on his rear. Husam in 4th. The soft runners, they want to pull away as best they can from Ben. He's on the mediums, of course. John behind him. Swifty. Eruption, Alp, Larsen, your 10 points runners at the moment.
Eruption. Oh, he had a little look at Swifty coming out of 3 on the inside into 4. It would have been a very late move for him. He decided against it. But the softs proving dangerous on these medium runners.
Uptus very tight to Azir coming through turn 5. He was on the inside. Azir, he's on these hards, of course. We talked about the tire differential already. Uptus going to be quicker than him right now. He's going to be just a little bit, well, he is going to be faster with the tires. Further up.
Yeah,
John.
the pace was close.
John, nothing yet here on Ben, but he is closing it nicely. Everyone in good formation.
Yeah, no DRS yet, obviously. I don't think we've seen it yet in this race with the safety car out, and we'll have to wait until it gets enabled. I was going to say re-enabled, but we haven't had it yet. A DC on 133.9, so it's fastest lap of the race, but I should get faster. Seeing here now, Azir is starting to slowly drop off of the rear of Larsen. Can Eruption do anything down into turn 2? He can't. John as well, close to the rear of Ben. And the softs now looking around the outside of turn 3. You're never going to get around there. It's too long of a corner to just send it around the outside. You travel too much distance.
There is a lot of battling on this grid. I was just looking at the very rear of the grid. XTXP, Max O'Connor, Lil Shen in tight formation in 18th through 20th, and as this grid is in an entire train, it's going to be very hard to catch all the action with some of these DRS straights. Up toss tight to Azir. Azir, he's just sitting on right now. Top toss is just sitting on Azir's rear. I think he might go for it here. He's pushing that battery, Unicorn.
Well, he has to get past, because look at that gap. It's edging to the point where Azir might drop out of DRS range, and that's terrible news for everyone else on these mediums.
Yeah, especially through this third sector.
That's where you'll see time drop. He was, he's been brought back in because of the slipstream, and now look at the time drop back down again. It was 7/10 when they came in. There goes 7/10. DRS enabled now. Because of where the detection point is, they get it. Because of that early start-finish line, but the front is already splitting up. Ben is 1.7 seconds off
Eruption.
of the front runners.
Eruption's looking at Swifty. Swifty with the DRS. Swifty holding that outside. Eruption gets on the brakes, and Swifty, you can see he just stretches out in front there and holds that position for now. Further back down, Scars still holding well here. Mark in 13th position is on the rear of Tuptus. Tuptus just hasn't been able to pull this trigger on his ear, and look at that gap. We're just dancing around that DRS range now. If he drops the DRS range, there is going to be an entire field of frustrated and, well, I imagine, pissed off drivers.
I think the one person who might not be annoyed by this is Scars, because I think he realizes what's going on. He is saving battery. He is stockpiling it. He's got 94% because he knows that he needs to get past these other drivers on the mediums on pace and pace alone. So he could just sit behind them for now, waiting to use this battery, just using a little bit there to keep up. But he knows that once he gets past Azir, there's work to be done to catch the rest of the field. Azir now drops to below 1 second. The detection point for the next DRS zone is just before turn 1, so he's got time to get back into it. He is really dancing. He's back under it now. Is impressive enough on the hards, but now here we go. Time starts to tumble as they come out of the tricky 15-16 turns, and I think the Spaniard might have just lost DRS for himself, and of course that means DRS on the cars behind is pretty useless because they won't slingshot into anyone else's, and he doesn't have DRS. This is bad news for everyone outside the top 10.
Definitely bad news here. I'm going to take a look at John really quick. He's not going for it. Tuptus, meanwhile, doesn't have enough of a run here to get his ear just yet, and this is good for his ear. He's able to hold off just enough, but he has really got to push here to find that second to Larsen. Ooh, Henners, Jake on the inside of turn 3. As we come through into the outside of turn 4, Jake gets the move done. Henners has a trip to the outside and takes a warning, giving him a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, I don't know whether he was given the position back there. He sort of went deep coming through turn 2 to get past the Red Bull, and the Red Bull got a bit shaky. So I'm not sure if Henner's there, given the position back, not happy with how he got that move done. I think he got it done off the track. So I think a bit of good sportsmanship coming out of Henner's there. Not quite sure, but unfortunately he got a penalty either way.
Ben right now on the Ferrari, he's here in a reserve capacity. Unfortunately, 3.2 seconds out of range on the soft runners, but of course he is on these mediums. He's holding Jean at bay. This is good for him, and with John having Swifty behind on the mediums, it's not a good pressure to be under right now.
Yeah, he's in a pretty tricky spot there. He's got the rest of the soft runners, or 4 of them at least, running away at the front, which is exactly what you want to be doing if you're on the softs, because obviously it's not going to be long until we see them into the pit lane. Only a few laps or so. Here he goes, though. He might have to run now on the Ferrari. Look to the outside. Ben defending the inside. But if he gets this done right, he'll have the inside into... Oh, look at that defense from the Ferrari there. Very nicely done from Ben. And now Swifty sweeping around the outside with extra speed through turn 3. Later on the brakes into 4. And what a beautiful move from the Red Bull. And now Eruption as well on the soft tires takes the Haas. And Jean, he was looking for 1 position. He loses 2. And he will not be happy with the events that just transpired in that Haas.
Yeah, that's a huge mugging there for that Haas driver. Tuptus tight to the rear of Azir. As we look a little bit further down the grid, Azir, he still hasn't been able to get himself into that range of Larsen. He's so close as well. He's just dancing in and around it. Tuptus now with the ERS. Larsen with the opportunity on Alp. Potentially, there's just a huge train in formation. Azir with no DRS now. Tuptus, he needs to pull the trigger here, and he does. Up the inside. A little bit of contact, a little bit of wheel banging, but Tuptus gets that car laid out in front of the Williams into 11th position. Has it been done in time? Here goes Jean. He's dropping to Alp. Look at this. Larsen's there as well. Around the outside, and he's tapped him. He's tapped Alp. They're off.
Oh, so Alp and Jake have come together.
Oh
I
no.
don't know if it was a dangerous rejoin or Jake went wide, didn't see the McLaren, but either way, Jake's actually managed to sneak himself into the pit lane here. He won't be happy about it. Well, he's retired from the session. Azir, Larsen, they're exchanging down into turn 2, but I'm not quite sure how. But Alp picked up a end plate loss in the 14-15 section of track, so not quite sure where he lost that. Larsen now, look how wide he's running with that damage on that Alpha Tauri. Through turn 3, damage around here really does not fare well. Now Scars is going to have a look at him. Doesn't want to get held up here. This has brought a lot of people back into contention for points, but it's taken Jean 2 seconds behind Eruption, so big break in the top, or from the top 7 now.
Well, all it took there, Unicorn, was one domino to really fall. And it really just started to pop off here, as we'll say. And Larsen right now has a big issue, and Scars hunting him down. Scars wants to really go right now. Here we go. Battery, overtake. Everything in utilization here. DRS. He's going to get through now. He's going to have that outside line into turn 13. Is it going to be enough?
Mark.
Oh,
Mark
he just...
it right at the inside, locked up, and just missed it completely on his ear.
This is going to hold up Scars a little bit. Look, Larsen's still there. Larsen's still with Scars. The damage on Larsen's car, of course, not helping him. Now, Adesi, Crampy, Usam, they've all come into the pit lane. Pavel stayed out, and we've got a Ferrari 1-2 at the moment.
Yeah, I think Larsen there, wing damage, it really does not help. Especially overtaking through Sector 3, which is hard enough as it is.
Top Tuss. Tight to the rear of Jean into turns 2 and 3. And, of course, nothing yet. But Top Tuss, he's been wanting to get through here all night. Or day, if you're in Russia. In the game.
Another thing worth pointing out is Larsen, a big snap from the Alpha Tauri. The leaders on the softs just came into the pits, and Adesi, Crampy. We've got a yellow flag. Who's come off there? It's been an issue for Max O'Connor. He is off. I don't know if there was anyone else involved in that, but Max O'Connor now.
No damage. No visible damage.
I'm not quite sure what happened there. He's really struggling. Look at that shake coming out of turn 7 for the Mercedes. So, bit of a rogue incident there.
Just want to take a quick moment to give a massive shout out to Waffalorian. Thank you so much for the raid, and welcome in, everybody. Greatly appreciate the support. My name is Stryfium, joining me is Unicorn, and you're here for the MRL Tier 2 division around Russia. Thank you so much for coming through, Waffle.
Well, pit stops coming in for the rest of the soft runners now, as Scars has been having a good look at Mark through Sector 3. And I think he might have the run strip to get past here. And he needs to, because, well, Azir is 1 second behind Tuptus, but he nearly broke the 1 second window to the car behind with all that fighting that was going on behind him. Scars now, he's going to make sure that that doesn't happen. He's got a massive ERS advantage, and this is the time. This is where we'll see who made the right call in the pit lane. Azir, he's done well to hold off on those hards, but now he's got what is his biggest championship rival right behind him, locked and loaded on a faster set of tires right now. And this is bad news for the Spaniard.
Yeah, definitely bad news for Azir. Pavel right now. Husam nearly having an exchange coming through turn 4. Husam goes wide. Enters on the rear of Rackety. There's been a lot of exchanging, a lot of solid battling here, as on the last, 3-4 laps, Henners has really been struggling to find the road today, as I think that's his second penalty already, and we're just getting to lap 12 in a few seconds.
Yeah, I think it's a track here where, as Adesi around the outside of Lil Shen into 13.
Oh, this
He's
is not
managed
good
to pull
for
that
Shen.
one out of the bag.
He's got Crampy coming through on the fresh tires as well, but Crampy wants to make sure he gets through on Lil Shen to keep up with the Desi as quickly as possible. He's tapped Lil Shen slightly in the rear, had a bit of a slide.
Oh, here goes Desi looking for that move on XTXP now. And he is on a real charge on these fresh mediums. Guys ahead all on older tires, and this is brilliant news. And for Williams, obviously, Desi here for the Pirates, not for the Williams squad, but they've got both strategies covered in that Williams garage. So we'll see which one pays off the best.
Here's Ben and Swifty now. Swifty in second position, hunting down the Ferrari ahead. And we're about to come into the nice DRS straight here in Sector 2. And Ben's had a massive snap! Ben in that Ferrari has snapped it massively. Swifty with the DRS is most definitely going to pull away here.
I think Scar's missed a gear. He had a great run coming out of turn 10 on his ear here with DRS, but I think he changed up twice. I think he messed up his gearing. Whether that was deliberate to shave some speed off, so he just got closer, so not to lose time through Sector 3. But here he goes now, through into the final couple of corners. He needs a good run out of turn 18, that's for sure, because this could be the lap he gets Azir. Without DRS, this is the time. Look at Scars. A lot of ERS usage. Azir knows that he's using that battery as well. Here they go. Down towards turn 2. Azir now dipping into the single digits. He's running out of ERS to use, but he's used enough there to hold off Scars for P4 for the time being. The Alfa Romeo driver still in P5, which could be net P2. Right now with Suptus. Well, he's got 5 seconds to his name, but he is leading things.
Crampy, Lil Shen coming through turns 2 and 3 now. Crampy, a little bit of contact with Lil Shen. Lil Shen says, I'm going to do everything I can to stop you after that, my friend. And he's going to have the inside coming into turn 4. He goes a little bit deep. Crampy just pushes through on the inside switchback and says, 12th is mine. Pavel.
Well, here goes Pavel, yeah. And Lil Shen, I gotta say, he's got a lot of confidence in that car, because not only was he going around the outside of turn 3, but he was using ERS there. And you've got to have a lot of faith that your car is going to stick to the surface, especially around Russia, where a lot of people use low downforce setups. Azir, Scars, the exchange has been made. Scars just sneaking around the outside before turn 13. And there it is, a change what could be the winner of this race. DZ now getting past Henners. They're side by side as Rackety there, holding up the Williams. DZ just manages to secure 9th place. It won't be long until he's into 8th, I don't think. But Scars is past, and now the South African has to push, and he's got the ERS to do so. And, well, he's in DRS to Tuptus as well, which is great news for him, because Azir did not have this luxury to defend down into turn 2. And this should really help the Alfa Romeo pull away from the Alpha Tauri.
Definitely. He's having a solid run right now. Scars in his recovery drive after his unfortunate incident in the first couple of turns. Rackety, Adesi, right as we come into, of course, turn 2. Crampy gets XTXP. Pavel now, he's looking at XTXP as well, coming through turn 3, and this might be a move done for the Ferrari if he goes on the inside. Nothing doing just yet. He's gone into the rear of XTXP. He's slid. He can't get it corrected. He's sliding, and he's got it now, but he's lost a couple of positions, and this has cost him dearly as he drops out of DRS as well. Can he push it to get back in that DRS? He's just dancing. He's just dancing around it.
The impressive thing is there that he did not hit that wall. If he'd have hit that wall, it was race over for him. But the fact that he avoided it saved that car. Very, very impressive stuff from Pavel, because that would have really been a bad news. He got DRS as well, so he saved himself. And there's still points on the table for the Ferrari, but only because he managed to avoid that wall. So excellent ability to save that car there. Obviously an unfortunate incident to force the slide, but to avoid that wall, he's done an excellent job there, Striff. A great piece of driving from him.
Yeah, it was a very good move to get that car corrected out of the wall, out of the trajectory it was heading in.
Goss, meanwhile, a great push from him. He's starting to put a bit of a gap between himself and the Williams.
What's happened here?
Behind.
I was just...
Hender's crashed.
Where did he crash? He's coming
out of the last corner. He's blocking the
my.
finish line, and that's late. VSC.
What a bad time it's been for Henners with this race, as he had been caught up in issues in the opening turn, and now a terminal retirement here for the McLaren driver.
Very, very unfortunate now, though. I don't think this VSC is going to last long enough for Swifty and Ben here to take any advantage of it. It's a bit early for the softs. They could do it this lap, but it wouldn't be perfect. It has, though, brought Scars very close to top because he's played that VSC Delta very well, and now he is very close to that racing point. I don't know whether we'll see him make the move down into turn 13 like he did on the Williams, but he might do,
yeah.
Here he goes up the inside on the racing point. Later on the brakes, a bit of a lockup for the Alfa Romeo, but he gets that move done. Azir, he's very close now to the rear of the racing point, and that's not good news for Scars at all, because this means Azir might be a threat to top us down into turn 2. But Scars now, he's got a push to do, and from what he did to Azir, he does seem to have the pace to do it in those mediums.
Having a very good recovery right now. 50 and Ben tied up at the front. Henner's now leaving the session after his unfortunate retirement, coming out of turn 18. Tuptus, Azir pushing right now. Tuptus with that DRS, looking at Scars just the same. Azir wanting to go through into fourth, but he holds well, has some patience as we come through turn 3 now. Really pushing, rackety, crampy exchange behind. Look at this, Azir. He's got the fronts to the rears on the inside of turn 4. Tight, and there's contact. There goes Azir. He's spun. This is not good. This is a very interesting section of circuit here. Cars coming through now. Where does Azir land himself? It's 8th position, as he's now been overtaken by Adesi, his teammate for the evening. Crampy will be within DRS range in just a matter of seconds here.
Striff, that was... We say it a lot, that patience in these races is absolutely critical, as I'll be interrupted by a bit of a switch for the lead. I think we're going to see Ben now pushing for Swifty for P1. It may not be net P1, but it is P1 on track right now. The Ferrari up the inside of the Red Bull down into turn 13, just sneaks past Swifty. What a move for the reserve driver there to take lead of things. Azir now drops to Crampy. The damage they're not doing, as the other Williams is exchanging. He's side by side with Larsen coming through the opening corners of sector 3. They're still side by side. The Williams on the inside into 15. This isn't a brilliant corner to go side by side through. Now sneaking around the outside. What a move from him. The two leaders come in, Swifty and Ben. They're going to go to the softs to the end now, and we'll see where they land. We've had Adesi, we've had Crampy carve through this grid on the fresh mediums. Let's see what the fresh softs can do. Inject some pace, some real quick drivers now onto some really quick tires. Very interesting to see where they land. But going back to Azir, he was pushing around turn 3 with a very limited amount of ERS drift. Enter up the inside into turn 4, which is risky, and you've seen it there. I don't think he needed to force that move. It's hard to... He was playing the long game when he came in for these hards on lap 2, and it seemed like he just forgot that there.
Yeah, for sure. XTXP right now. Husam Eruption coming through turn 4. They're tight. They're in formation. XTXP right now playing a little bit of a rolling roadblock, as you say. Here's Eruption on the inside of turn 5. Does he get this move? Oh, no! There's been huge contact between the pair of them. That is a huge collision. Oh my, Husam now facing the wrong way. He's going to get that back onto the circuit, and there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a full course safety car on lap 17.
Well, we weren't going to get one, but he spun round, and when he spun round, he took his entire front wing off on the other side of the track. I don't think we were going to get a safety car, but we have now, because when he spun round, he put a little bit too much throttle on, and instead of facing the right way, he hit the wall and took off the rest of his front wing. So he has now got full debris on both sides of the track. That's what's caused the safety car there. So it's actually quite interesting with the way the safety car spawned there, because it wasn't going to spawn when we had a car stationary on the side of the track, because it could move again. But when there's a huge portion of the front wing, it spawned it now. And look at the front runners, Striff.
Yep.
Soft tires, they're back on the menu for a lot of drivers now.
Yep.
And Crampy's staying out because he'd get double stacked. Where does this put Ben and Swifty, who's just come in? Swifty and Ben can be just catapulted into the podium positions.
Gonna be tight here on exit, I think.
I don't think it will be. I think they're gonna get it.
They're not going to get scars.
And Swifty might not get Mark either.
So the Red Bull and the Ferrari have been separated by Mark.
That is great news for them. Where does Azir land in all of this? Well, he was in a bad situation a few moments ago. Now just gets out ahead of Max O'Connor, I think. And the Spaniard, well, he might not be able to win this race, but points have been saved for the Williams. There's penalties ahead of him. And I think he might be able to score a couple of points here, Striff. That is a very, very well-timed safety car for a few of these drivers.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's been an absolute wild ride. Thank you so much to everybody tuning in. We hope you're enjoying all the action. Of course, if you're looking for clips, highlights, full replays, guides, anything Formula One gaming related, please don't hesitate to check out our YouTube channel. We have a ton of stuff there for you. We've got league-specific guides. We've got learning guides, one-on-one, turn-by-turn in-depth guides, everything you need. Safety car. What a dynamic that these safety cars late in the race really present us.
Yeah, this race has been a really fun race to watch. It has been just action-packed and rushed the game. In real life, it doesn't really have, the same sort of excitement, I don't think, that the game provides. Some tracks it gives them a little bit more of an edge because bigger risks can be taken. It's a different environment, of course, in quite a lot of the sense. It's the same track, but in a completely different environment. Russia in the game is so exciting to watch, I think, sometimes, and we're seeing that now as Toptus come back into the pits. Did he have a problem? Because the Racing Point's coming back in. I know he served the 5 seconds the first time around. What's he doing in the pit lane now? Fresh wing. I think he damaged his wing somewhere along the way. He lost an end plate. Maybe even a foil on one of the sides. Very peculiar, but that sends Toptus, he was up there, Striff, a few moments ago. He did have a 5-second penalty to his name, which dropped him in the pit window there, the safety car caused, but now down to the back of this grid. So very, very unfortunate for him.
The position changes. Fastest lap, that 33.9 from Adesi there. Lap 19 out of 27 here. Tier 2, and after now 3 races, we had Tier 3 Americas, now Tier 2. It really does make me wonder when the rain is going to come for starters. I wonder if we'll get it for Tier 1 tomorrow. But with the safety cars that have come in this race and yesterday in Americas, the VSCs and Tier 3, I wonder how it's going to go for Tier 1, because Tier 1 is such a tight grid. And we've seen a couple of mistakes here with this grid tonight.
I think this track, it is a great test, because you saw it there with Azir. Leading the championship, his first pole position ever here in the season. And he sort of threw it away there with a move up the inside into turn 4, which you can do. We've seen it this race. You can make that move work, but a lot of the times it doesn't work. It depends who's taking whose corner. And I just think it's a test of patience, knowing when to overtake, when to execute your moves, when you can and when you can't. There is a great, sort of balance here as safety car is coming in. Crampy's leading, and that might give Scott a bit of a leg up here, because I assume Crampy's going to tell him exactly when he goes. Those Alfa Romeos, there's a lot of teamwork between them. Oh, yeah. Crampy knows now he's not really racing Scars. See when he drops the hammer. Will he do exactly what Adesi did earlier? He will, going on the straight between turn 17 and 18.
Him go. Pavel has not let him breathe at all. This has not worked for Crampy. Pavel's on him. Hello, hello, says the Ferrari versus the Alfa Romeo. It's a drag race down into turn 2, and here we go. Pavel on the inside, Crampy. Well, he's had to use that exit curbing here. Jean with the front row seats. It's wheel to wheel as we come through turn 3. Crampy still holding on to the lead. Pavel, does he have a big lunge into turn 4? There's still wheel to wheel here. Jean now on the rear of the Ferrari. Well, he wants an opportunity. Putting a lot of pressure on Pavel. Here goes Scars, and there he is on the fresh softs, making quick work of the Haas. And the Ferrari ahead of him is on notice. That's my teammate in front of you, he's saying.
Well, that is just... There's a reason why Alfa Romeo is leading this constructors, both of them there. Just put on a masterclass. Crampy defending up the inside of turn 3 like he did was absolutely superb, and just enough space left around the outside of turn 4, or on the inside for Pavel Ben. Jean, they exchange as they go down. Jean, big problem on the inside, went way too deep now, having to let a lot of cars by. That's not good news for the Haas at all.
That's horrible news for the Haas driver right now. Back to Scars now.
Looking on the inside into the penultimate corner. Is big cut there to...
Had the wrong camera there
against
for a second.
him. He's impatient.
Well, he wants to get here. He wants to be out in front, and he wants to separate himself to this group of cars behind him. Jean dropping in that way really did not help him here, because it really leaves Ben, like, we're now in a Ferrari situation where we've got Crampy with Pavel behind him, Scars with Ben behind him. It's the Alphas versus the Ferraris right now.
Oh, and look at that. Swifty John on the inside.
Oh, Ben's been collected here.
Fun. Oh, it's a big portion of the front wing of the Ferrari. I think Swifty might have damage as well.
Yes, he does.
It looks like he does. Missing an end plate. Adizi getting up the inside of a little Shen there. And they're just sneaking through. And now very wide from the racing point, who loses out to Azir. Azir back in the points already for the Spaniard. Little bit of contact between him and the racing point of the Mercedes and Max O'Connor. It's 3 wide here. And Azir drops back out of the points, now back up into them on the inside as Max O'Connor runs very wide through turn 10. But there is the Haas of Jean.
Here goes Scars.
Just a few laps to go.
Scars has now dispatched Pavel. Now it's the Alfa Romeo's 1-2 presently. Max O'Connor, Jean exchanging. It's huge action in turn 13 right now. Max, XTXP, 11th position. Jean on the inside now as we come through 14, 15. Oh my, Jean, a little bit of contact. Max O'Connor is going to be looking to get that position. Eruption on his rear, and this restart has just given us some amazing, wild, chaotic, dramatic, intense action. I'm trying to... How many words can I find here to just describe what we are seeing? I have to say, this is a great race.
Absolutely thrilling stuff there. There was so many cars, and for the most part, very clean as well. There wasn't a lot of contact between vehicles there, and you love to see it. Also, we're pointing out the Alfa Romeos now. Scars is 2-second clears of Pavel on those old tyres. Crampy has done so well to get through here. All he had to do was stay ahead at the start because he knew his teammate was going to carve through with these fresh softs. Give him a little bit of breathing room. Now Scars can just sort of wait a little bit. Help Crampy out a little bit. Crampy pushing with the ERS. Scars just sitting behind him. Not going to put him under any pressure, really. So that Crampy can keep going. Fast lap after fast lap. You said it yourself, Striff. You had him on for a 1-2. There's a reason these guys are leading the constructors. They are such a good act. They are class. Every race weekend, they are coming with the points in mind. They have got big points, and now they might get that 1-2 predicted. Mark on the rear of Pavel now. The Alpha Tauri looking up the inside into 13. Not going to get anything done on the Ferrari this time, but those mediums really feeling it compared to these softs, Striff.
Mark, he needs to have a little bit of patience here, but he can't have too much patience because he does have to break down the gap that Pavel is continuing to grow due to the tires that he's on. Of course, he's got Scars pushing and sitting with his teammate. Slight tap there, Mark in the rear of Pavel. John takes 3 seconds, and Scars collected the fastest lap, and it's time for the switch between these two, and Scars is now in lead of this race. Lars and Mark. Well, they've exchanged. Larsen on the inside of Pavel. What a lunge. What a dive. It's clean. Wheel to wheel as we come through 3 now. Larsen on the outside of Pavel as we come into turn 4. Larsen's got himself just edging ahead here.
Big problem for him, though. Slide on the exit and Mark around the outside, yeah.
This is a crazy, crazy train that has really taken formation on the rear of Pavel here, and everyone needs to watch it. Rockety especially, got 3 seconds right now.
Yeah, it's 3 seconds, but he's very tight to the rear of that AlphaTauri, so we'll see whether he can make anything move. Crampy's just dropped out of ERS range of Scars, and I don't think Scars is gonna be able to do anything about it really to help his teammate out, because even with the DRS, Crampy not catching there. Scars has done all that he can for Crampy. Crampy now.
Azir into 8th position ahead of Swifty. Sorry to interrupt you there, Unicorn. And I saw Mark. He's on the rear of Pavel here still. Very, very tight. And I don't know if it's costing Larson or not yet.
Well, Softs should still be all right. But the thing is here, last time around, we saw him tap the rear of the Ferrari here. And getting a bad exit out of that final corner is absolutely atrocious for any driver here. And now look at the difference. Now that he's got a good exit, that's the difference. Look how powerful that is. Down into the run. His teammate Larson not able to find a way through on Pavel as well, but Pavel cuts the corner, has to take the escape road. That's cost him a lot of time to the AlphaTauri, and he sweeps around the outside. Larson up into P4. It's a 1-2 for the Alfa Romeos, and the AlphaTauris, well, they're looking to try and make it a 3-4.
Look at the position changes we're seeing on this timing tower right now for these top 5. Pavel up 1 position. The rest of them have all made up good position. I mean, Scars up 2, Crampy up 3. But when you think about how Scars started this race, he had a major recovery drive to get back to where he is. Mark in 3rd, Lars in 4th here. They've made up 7 and 16 positions each.
Been a great race, a thrilling race, and well, we're coming into the closing stages now, but look how tight everything is. That safety car really bunched everything back up and around here. People don't get lost easily. Swifty with that damage, struggling through the final sector. Shen's found his way through, and now on the inside, XTXP looking for it through 15. Swifty on the inside through 16, but that damage not giving him enough speed. XTXP losing it though a little bit, taps the Red Bull in the side. Now later on the brakes, using the extra downforce that he's got to swing around the outside of 17, but Swifty there. Well, he nearly got into a big trouble with that Renault, and now behind him, Eruption could really cause some problems for this Red Bull. But it's Swifty with a great run of speed down this start-finish straight, up into 10th. Eruption gets past XTXP, but XTXP late on the brakes defends. Eruption has to take the escape route.
Wow. A huge lunge there from XTXP. Holding a lock up there. Eruption forced to take the off-road. We move ahead to Rockety on the rear of the Williams. Adesi trying to get ahead of Pavel now. Pavel starting to drop through this grid on the Warren mediums, and Crampy, well, he's got a 2.4 second cushion to Mark behind him. We're on the 25th lap, and now Eruption goes through on the inside. He gets XTXP done here. Max in 14th position.
Eruption really wanted that place back. Swifty with a huge snap out of 10. Manages to recover, but he will lose the position to Husam. I'm pretty sure down into 13. But Eruption, he wanted that position back from XTXP, and he got it through the inside through 5 into 7. And there goes a great dive from Husam on Swifty. Swifty, he's going to have damage. Looks to try and get back past. And we know he's capable of doing so, but with that damage, just don't think anything's going to do for him. Pavel, Adesi, they're exchanging as they come into the penultimate corner. It's side by side. The Williams on the softer tyres. The reserve driver up the inside. There's been contact. Oof. And now Rockety on the inside.
Yeah, and Azir. Azir's coming through too. Holy, this is tight. Pavel now back on Adesi. Azir on the rear of Rockety into turn 2.
Pavel and Adesi are side by side. The Williams had a great lot of pace. A little bit of contact between the two of them in turn 3. They're lucky that that didn't cost them anything bad, because that could have been a big incident right there. But Adesi, what great pace he's shown to keep up with his championship leader, his teammate for the evening. He has been on fire here in the reserve capacity. But Azir, what a recovery drive. That safety car was well timed, but it was looking like he was only going to be able to score a few points. He might be able to score a whole host of them here. He might still lose out to his championship rival, but it will still be damage mitigation for the Williams done right.
This has been a thrilling race. There were a few moments, I think, in that first stint where we were questioning it. Here goes Azir. Rackety has now been dispatched. First stint, things were a little bit quieter, and then things just... Suddenly there was a switch flipped.
Yeah, absolutely that. This last portion of the race has been astounding. It's been brilliant. It's a high-energy race. We have not been silent at all.
No.
There has not been a moment to breathe, but here we go. Once again, DRS down the start-finish straight. It's a DZ on the rear of Rackety. That Renault seems to be struggling a little bit. Maybe not running quite the low downforce that he needs. He's defending as they go down into turn 2. Very, very close between the two of them. And a DZ just gets backed out in time. But that was very close to Rackety being slammed into a wall. They managed to avoid it. They're still close.
Past the slap, Jean in the Haas has removed that point out of the top 10. What a battle we're seeing here for this 6th position. Of course, Rackety with a penalty at the minute. He could drop a couple positions, not just to Adesi, but to Pavel as well.
Well, it's the last lap. Adesi knows this might be, well, it will be his last chance really to get Rackety. And here he goes up the inside of 12, down towards 13. Doesn't even need the braking zone of 13. He's already passed in that Williams. What a great run of speed from him.
XTXP looking at Swifty. Max O'Connor has the rear view. Nothing doing just yet, but it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to welcome this man to the finish line. It's Scars. It's the South African driver, and he will take the checkered flag here for the 2nd time in a row. This time, it's a 1-2 for the Alfa Romeos as there's an issue crossing the line. Mark will collect 3rd. And we're going to have onboards for all these guys.
Yeah, what a race from Scars.
What a race.
The South African. Just, he can't put a foot wrong in his last few races. He has been in incredible form.
Well,
that is insane. So
I just want to say, I haven't spoken to Crampy and Scars all week. And I make bold predictions, and today, ladies and gentlemen, the Alfa Romeos came through on my prediction for a 1-2 race win, and here we have them. Scars and Crampy, congratulations, and what a performance from really a lot of the drivers on the grid today. It was an awesome race. It was an awesome race. We're going to have interviews in just a second with our top 3, and of course, after that, we hope you'll join us for an awesome raid. Wow, just so much fun, that one. Not something, I mean, that's not the type of race we've seen. I mean, I haven't had a chance to really watch back Americas. I'll be honest, I raced in Americas. That's why I know what happened, but that was a very exciting race. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Scars, wow. That's 2 wins in a row. Crampy collects 2nd here, and it's Mark, who has been having such a dynamic, up and down, unique season. I'm very much looking forward to talking to him in a few moments' time from AlphaTauri. Wow. Fantastic.
that was a brilliant race. I really, really enjoyed that one. That was the action there, and we had a couple of incidents here and there, but most of it was so clean from this grid. They really put in just a huge effort here, and to bring home the battling you get there around Russia, where a lot of the time DRS overtakes, but through that opening section down into turn 2, you see a lot of overtakes through there. But the amount of action we saw through turn 3 into 4, the opening of sector 2, through the final sector as well into 13, through that final section, so much action. Turn 10 as well, when we had that midfield battle, there was a portion of that race where the midfield That's about 5 cars exchanging lap after lap. So absolutely brilliant. So I just want to say thank you to the tier 2 drivers putting on an absolutely brilliant show. That was absolutely incredible.
A great race. We're going to get some interviews now. Joining us up here, there we go. Joining us now for interview, and it's been a long time coming, I think, after some very good performances over the course of your time with us in Tier 2. We welcome to the commentary booth for a great congratulations on a P3, a podium finish. We have the AlphaTauri driver, Mark. Welcome, congratulations. Hello. How was this race for you?
Oh my gosh. I'm shaking, but like it was a long time coming, like unlucky and getting involved in incidents. Managed to keep it clean today, or relatively clean, judging by the safety cars. And as a result, get a podium. So it's a good result. It's a good result. And Lars in P4 as well, so.
Yeah, it was a great race to watch. Unicorn and I had no shortage of excitement through this one, and what a thrilling end. We had the Alfa Romeos 1 and 2, yourself in third with your teammate Larsen in fourth, and then we had Williams 5 and 6.
Oh, Williams.
So that was quite interesting to see at the end of that campaign. 2 safety cars. First one, what did you think about the safety cars in this race? Were they expected? Did you come in with a little bit of a, an inkling that there would be some drama like this?
I mean, first of all, I'd say, the top 3 constructors there, they seem to have peaked. That's one for the people in chat. But no, so in terms of the safety cars, first safety car I actually saved because I actually had wing damage. I went into the back of Swifty. I think it was like a Constantina. So I had a bit of wing damage at the beginning. So the safety car allowed me to change the wing. And yeah, then I got told by my engineer that I was in net P2 somehow. So yeah, that was, I guess, a strategy of the gods. And then the second safety car, that was like, oh, should I stay out and keep track position? But then engineer once again peaked and said, let's go for softs and just push. And that's what we did.
Oh, it was a great race, and you obviously have a great team working with you there. And how does this race set you up for now Suzuka coming ahead next week?
Suzuka, I mean, I'm okay. I need to definitely do some practice. One thing I did this week, although I do it every week, but Wednesday we finished Singapore. Thursday I started practice for Russia. So we do the same thing again. Push, see if we can get some more podiums. Maybe a dub if things go my way. And hopefully we can see AlphaTauri on the top,
Well, we'll have to just see, Mark, and thank you for taking the time to come and interview, and congratulations on the P3, and perhaps we'll see you again next week or in the near future.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Well, that was Mark, ladies and gentlemen, from AlphaTauri. Congratulations to him on the P3 finish, the podium, and now we are speaking to Crampy. Welcome, sir. One of 2 elements for Alfa Romeo on the podium this evening. How does it feel to collect the 1-2 at long last with Scars with the win today?
It's great, really, that again we get another great result for the team after a 1-2 in Belgium. I haven't had the best last 2 races, but now we've got another 1-2. It's just great, pushing the constructors and just helping us hunt down Azir for the drivers.
This race, very dynamic, a couple of safety cars. Talk us through those safety cars. Was there any kind of team dynamics playing a role in how things went with you guys?
So for the lap 1 safety car, Scars got damage, and then he obviously pit lap 1 to change his, and then I stayed out as I know that for the first few laps after the safety car, the softs would still be better. Didn't expect them to have such a big gap after I pit, but after that I just pushed on. And then I stayed out for the track position under the second safety car while Scars went for softs. And then I knew it was going to be quicker, so then just had to play it safe home, push at the start whilst Pavel held the people up behind me, which worked out well for us getting the 1-2.
Well, congratulations, Crampy, on a great P2 finish and a great finish for the team. Again, you guys have been in solid form. How does this how do you look ahead now to Suzuka?
I'm honestly not sure at all. I don't really play Suzuka much, but obviously it's a nice track to drive when it's got right. I just obviously get practicing, hope to do it as well as possible.
Well, good luck, Crampy, and thank you for taking the time to interview, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right. Last but not least, we now welcome back to the commentary booth for another victory interview. It is the South African of Scars. He collected a win last week in Singapore. Now it's 2 in a row. Congratulations, Scars. And I just want to say, Unicorn and I were talking in quali. I haven't spoken to you this week. I didn't even get predictions from you for this race, so I just went and made a bold one and said, hey, it's going to be a 1-2 for Alfa Romeo. You guys came through and made me a hero, hitting the nail on the head. And I mean, today you had a huge recovery drive, but I'm going to hand it on to Unicorn now. But just congratulations.
Scars, again, P1 2 weeks in a row, 5th podium in a row. You've got to be feeling good after that one. How do you feel after that? Because there's a lot to go through. You had a very action-packed evening.
Yeah, yeah, it feels really good. It was an emotional roller coaster, I must say. When I got hit at turn 1, and I was just kind of like drifting across the track, and I was just waiting for someone to just smash into me and take my wheel off. But luckily, I only got a yellow wing, but I still thought the race was kind of over. But then the safety car came out, and I pitted for mediums. I already tested it. Mediums from lap 1, can you make it to the end? And then when I saw Azir go into hards as well, I was like, okay, I kind of got a good chance. And a lot of other people stayed out. But yeah, it was a really good race. Safety car at the end didn't really matter that much. Still got a good gap, and the fact that Crampy was able to get to P2 was really good. And the constructor seems pretty good, and the drivers is looking better as well.
Yeah, absolutely. A strong haul of points. Azir, he seemed to be returning to some sort of form, qualifying as well. You've sort of been out qualifying him very regularly. Was it worrying to see Azir on pole? He hasn't done that before this season. He's still managing to lead the championship. When you saw, you were P3, Azir P1, were you worried that the Drivers' Championship was going to be extended by the end of this race when you saw that?
No, because the race is long, of course. Anything could happen. Starting third to Russia isn't, it isn't the worst thing in the world. Of course, his qualifying has been pretty lackluster recently. You're right. So I wasn't expecting him to do a 29.3, I think it was. So that was a really good lap. But I think it's just not to doubt yourself in the race, because that's when things start to go wrong. So I did it out myself, and it went pretty well, I'd say. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just said the recovery drive. The opening lap was not good for you, but you pushed through and you reserved a lot of ERS. Managed to break through after that safety car. The second safety car, when you came in for those soft tires, everyone's on those softs. You've got a few cars ahead on the mediums. You got through them pretty cleanly. How much teamwork was there between you and Crampy to sort of just try and help Crampy extend his lead over the other cars? Because it seemed that you were sort of just waiting for your best moment to overtake Crampy there.
Yeah, I think we also got a little bit lucky, because when I got through, I think it was, I don't know, I can't remember who was in second place, but I think it was Jean, I think. We got past him, and then I think Ben, who was behind me on tops as well, got hit. And then that made like a really big gap from Pavel to me, and then to everyone else. There was like a 3-second gap, so that was good. And then Pavel, I can't remember what happened to him, but I passed him. And then there was a bit of a gap. Then when I passed Crampy, I just took one lap to get fastest lap, and then I just kind of hung back to give him DRS, so no one threatened him, and it seemed to work pretty well. And he had a decent gap to the guys behind. So yeah, I was just trying to be patient with Crampy and just get past him as cleanly as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we let you go, next week, Japan. The gap now to Azir in the standings is 30 points. If you perfect the weekend next time, you could be 4 points within Azir if all goes your way. How confident are you for Japan? What are your thoughts going into next week?
I think it's probably one of my favorite tracks. and it's a really nice real track as well, and Azer's own controller. So hopefully that should go well for most of the wheel players. So that should put a couple of cars hopefully between us two. I think I'm pretty good there, so hopefully should go pretty well and feeling pretty good for that race.
Well, Scars, 2 wins in a row. Your form is looking good right now. We'll see you again next week for Japan, and of course, we might be seeing you here in the commentary booth as well. But a huge congratulations, and we'll see you next time.
All right, thanks guys. Cheers.
All right, that wraps up the interviews, and that wraps up Tier 2 Unicorn. What a fantastic race that was. Just a cracking campaign around the Sochi Autodrome here for round 17. Next week, we're going to be going to Suzuka again with the Tier 2 division. Tomorrow, we will be back here, same time, same place, twitch.tv, Misfits RL, of course, for the Tier 1 racing action. That'll be Unicorn and I once again on the microphones, casting all of that great wheel-to-wheel battling. And without, well, last but not least, check out the event, !event, and our great partners, Next Level Racing, for some awesome sim racing rigs, motion sims, wheel stands on their website. They really do want to try and grow and support the sim racing community, and they've got some great quality products to do just that. So thank you very much to them. Of course, we have the Endurance Series coming on Saturday. More about that tomorrow. And we have a ton more action this week for racing all over between YouTube and Twitch here. So anything else from you, Mr. Unicorn, before we head out for the evening?
Well, again, I think we've said it a lot, but that is a brilliant Russian Grand Prix, and it bodes well for Tier 1. Sorry, tomorrow. This was Tier 2. But yeah, Tier 1, a very, very close, a very, very fast division. We'll see how low into the 29s we could get, maybe even a 20. I feel like that's going to be hard pressed, but it's going to be a very, very tight grid. I'm very much looking forward to that. This has set the bar high for tomorrow's race, but that one to rewatch it over on the YouTube channel when it comes out. But yeah, brilliant race, and thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow for Tier 1, same time, same place. But until then, take care, and thank you again very much for watching.